Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
Vandarian Hammer Tongue.
And we are back once again to talk about the new episode of Hot D, House of the Dragon.
The D is hot.
The D was very hot this episode. There was things, but I just got to say, I think I texted you, Vander, like immediately after I finished watching it. Like, this is that Westerosi good drama that I live for. Vander, what about you? What'd you think?
Oh, I thought the episode was spectacular. At times it seemed to be dragging on, but I also understand that they really have to dive into the aftermath and the grief of the royal family, losing the heir to the throne in a very violent, unnecessarily horrific fashion. So I thought the acting was spectacular. If you're talking about the opening scene, Aegon, I forget Tom Flynn or something like that, whatever the actor's name is, did a wonderful job of making me believe that he truly is horror struck by what happened and truly seeks this kind of very abrupt and straightforward vengeance that he appears to be driving towards. So the royal family, I like how we're like, it's not making us pick a side. Most people, I'd say, are probably still Team Black, but I love that we're getting to see the more kind-hearted side of some of the characters of Team Green who we didn't really like before, such as Aegon, Aemond, etc.
Yeah, I agree. A very different side that I think we're used to getting from the Green Soul. What about you? What are your big initial feelings coming out of it, having just recently watched it?
Phenomenal acting this episode, especially by Rhys Ifans, however you say his last name.
Ifans.
Man, acting so good. You get a little bit more of the Greens this episode, and you just feel for Helena so much. I just want to wrap her up and hug her and tell her everything's gonna be okay. But yeah, this was
which is what her mother should have done, but instead her mom was more worried about, oh, do you remember what you saw last night? Can we kind of forget? What a bad mom. Like, she's always thought to be like this great maternal figure. What a terrible mom for treating her kids like that.
Especially when when you see this scene where she's like, I'm just so mad about what they did to my girl, and then she spends no time the rest of the episode showing her any of that she cares that much about it. So,
and I think we see the difference between Rhaenyra and Alicent as moms, where both of these women lost their moms at a really young age. Alicent earlier than her, but Rhaenyra had a good father who loved her and treated her well. Alicent didn't. So Rhaenyra knows how to show her love to her children when Alicent does not. So I think Alicent loves her kids. She just can't show her love, whereas Rhaenyra can. And we saw that last episode with Jace. She's hugging him while he's crying. Alicent can't do that with her son.
Right. She walked into the room. Aegon was crying, and she was like, "Nope, I'm gonna go get some pipe."
Yep. Yeah. She decided that she wanted to enjoy the hand of the king's hand of the king a little bit.
Queen.
Yeah.
The backhand of the queen is what Sir Kristen got.
Right before she became the second person in the episode to fall on a sword. We I could do this all day because we hate them, and it's okay. They're bad people. I hate Kristen Cole so much.
Yes.
I want nothing but the most vile, violent, horrific. I want a Ramsay level death for this guy.
Who's worse, him, Ramsay, or Joffrey of Game of Thrones? Not Joffrey of House of the Dragon.
Yeah, either one. I mean, either one of them is gasm worthy in the retribution of it all. So I hate him so much, and he's getting everything he's ever wanted and more. And he's a guy who I feel so bad. I feel so bad. Not enough to stop doing what I'm doing, but I feel so bad. Where's old fuck bucket sitting with you, Sol? I'm gonna go to you first on this one. Where is Sir Tryhard Trent, Lord of the Simps, living with you?
Hate him. And the fact that him and Alicent were so holier than thou when it came to Rhaenyra, and he's just doing the same thing, and then he's trying to act holier than thou with Arik, and it's just like, bro, you're soiling the White Cloak, not him.
That scene is what really did it in for me, where he was chastising Arik for just having a dirty cloak. Like, of all things, that's the thing. Because I would respect Sir Criston more if all of his hatred and his bad deeds were more honest. You know what I mean? Like, because you can kind of in this fantasy world, Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, House of the Dragon, you come to like admire a character, even the villains, just for being honest about their hatred for somebody. Like, if every single one of his tasks was literally fueled by his hatred for Rhaenyra, that would be more commendable than, you know, strapping on two sides of the fence and then hopping on Alicent's pussy now that, you know, we're a year later. I don't know. That's the main thing that I don't like about him. It's one thing to be a
time has passed between the two seasons as a year at this point, or I thought it was just a few days even.
I think it was a few days.
Okay.
I don't know what the time jump of episode 1 to 2 is.
I mean, it was obvious. It was the morning after the assassination.
Oh yeah, the morning after.
Right. Yeah.
But of Rhaenyra finding out, I don't know how long that time is between.
Yeah.
I would imagine Ravens can travel pretty quick between King's Landing and Dragonstone, just because they're right next to each other.
Yeah. I know one of the things people often criticize Game of Thrones about was how, like, in season 1, it takes them episodes to get from Winterfell to Westeros, whereas in
King's Landing,
or to King's Landing, whereas by the end of it, it's pretty much just like, I can be there like in an hour.
Right.
And I feel like they did a bad job of conveying time. With this one, it does feel like it takes time for messages to arrive places. Like not everybody knew about Luke's death immediately. Not everybody knew about the death of the prince immediately. So
hell, look at it this way. In that time Luke flew to the Vale, you had to expect he spent maybe a week, a fortnight there, trying to muster up their armies, achieved that, and then went all the way up north. So you can imagine it took at least I'd say about 1 to 2 moons before Jace found out about his little brothers dying.
Because dragons fly fast, but they don't fly airplane fast. They fly like, I don't know, average sports car fast.
Maybe helicopter fast.
Maybe helicopter fast at best. So, like, you know, sports car on the Autobahn fast. Let's go with that. So yeah, it's still gonna, and we're talking about traversing an entire continent. So imagine traversing the entire east coast of the US. Like, that would take a couple days. So I think they're doing a better job of conveying the scale of the continent, as it were, and how much time, how there is time passing. Like, it's not just from one scene to the next. 5 minutes have passed. It's like, no, you can kind of gauge. And I think it's a testament that they figured out the pacing with it this time around.
And they're blessed with not having to worry about scaling the entire like world.
Right.
Where, you know, in Game of Thrones at the end, it was like Daenerys getting all the way from Marine to Westeros in seemingly 10 seconds. But now, like, especially from here on out, most of this war is going to take place within like just the bottom half of the continent.
Yeah. We don't need
Not only are we seeing just the time and the traversing of Westeros, but we're also seeing the common folk as well. So you're really getting a better view of the people of Westeros than you kind of did in Game of Thrones.
It's almost like they want us to see, because when we see the common folk in Game of Thrones, life sucks. It's bad. Like, if you're not part of the royal hierarchy, you are shitting in the street and dying of hunger. Whereas here, like, there's definitely people who are wealthier than others, but like when the ironworker's wife is saying like, I had to pay extra for chicken, it's like, you can tell, it's like, well, they've clearly got food. Like, they're not starving. They've got a whole by all accounts, like a decent home. Like, they seem to be doing okay, just they're starting to feel the struggle. So that, combined with the display Aegon puts on, which we'll jump into more in a little bit, you start to see kind of it kind of ties in with what we said about with the Night's Watch at the beginning of the disillusionment with anything that wasn't royal, or anything that was royal.
What was funny about that scene too is he was just like, I need more seasoning in my soup.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't care about the chicken. This just, Jesus, right. Woman's salt.
Need some flavor in here.
Yeah, Jesus. So we go. I do want to say, as somebody who plays D&D, the destruction of Viserys's miniatures was heartbreaking to watch on screen, because ain't no replacing those. Those are gone forever.
Nope.
It makes
when you see Viserys build it, you almost like assume that that's something that would just be there forever. Like, everybody can always look at it, or at least until the fall of the Targaryens. But nope, Viserys' son gets mad about, oh, my son was assassinated.
It's true, and it wasn't until I watched him destroy it where I went, oh yeah, we never do see that in Game of Thrones. I feel like that would have been scenes. I feel like we would have seen that. Yeah,
kind of monumental. Hell, we see the table that they use in Dragonstone to prepare for the war. Like, that's in Game of Thrones, but
although they didn't know how to turn it on in the Game of Thrones
show.
First time I saw that last season, I was like, oh, why didn't we do that? We couldn't afford the LEDs. Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I was surprised, and maybe this is how it was in the book. Yes, I was surprised with how quickly we resolved the blood and cheese thing. I figured that would just go unknown for fucking ever, and that we would never actually know. I'm surprised how quickly we kind of wrapped that up, really, within the first half of the episode.
I think it displays how Daemon's acts were so hasty and so unprepared, underdeveloped, that, like, because it just shows us that he didn't really care about these guys. Like, he gave them the gold and was like, I'll give you the other half after. He probably knew that they weren't going to make it very far once this horrible thing happened. And obviously the miscommunication on, like, who they assassinated, in the end they chose a child, which I like to believe that was not, I doubt Daemon was like, oh, okay, well, get a 5-year-old if you can't find Aemon. I don't think he did that. I think that was Blood and Cheese's decision. Again, a testament to them being unprepared, underqualified for this kind of a task. So yeah, I don't think Daemon gave a shit about their lives. I don't think that he thought they would have got away with it, because they fell upon them pretty quickly.
Well, Rhaenyra hit the nail on the head when she was like, you didn't do this for me. You did this for you. You didn't give a this was just, you just wanted to spill some of their blood because you're mad that none of this is about you. Because we got that when Rhaenys said in episode 1, like, were you the king? And then when she's snuggling with her man in this episode, she's like, he's just mad that Corlys is like, well, he's the king consort. She's like, yeah, but he's not the king.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He is for the first time in his life feeling what every queen has ever felt like in her entire life. Mm-hmm. So,
which, side note, what a great relationship Rhaenys and Corlys have. Like, an actually depiction of a good relationship in the Game of Thrones world.
Yeah, you want to just go bone and snuggle naked while we talk shit about our family? Yes. Yes, I do. I would love to do that. Let's go do that.
Also, I don't know if you guys caught this, but Rhaenys is wearing Hand of the Queen badge.
I did not notice that. I missed that completely.
Yep, Rhaenys Velaryon is Rhaenyra's Hand of the Queen.
I need to go back and watch that scene, because I remember the scene where she, like, tells the dude to watch his tongue or whatever. I got to go back and watch that scene again. Okay. I must have completely missed that. Wow. Okay.
That's pretty cool. I think that's a good choice.
Well, she's the best character on the show.
Yeah.
It was her or Corlys, one of those two. And Rhaenyra being a queen, no, I don't think she ever would have gave it to a man.
No, I don't think so.
Not if she has an option like Rhaenys available to her.
Yeah.
No, especially when, again, the underlying theme of the entirety of the story is Rhaenys should have been queen from the beginning, and that would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
That would have fixed everything.
I like that change from the book because it was really between oh my god, Viserys. That's his name. For a second, I forgot his name. It was between Viserys and Rhaenys' son.
Yeah, Laenor.
Rhaenys was completely taken out of it in the book.
Yeah.
And so I like that they made that different choice for the show.
It gave her more structure as like a somebody that Rhaenyra could look up to, in a sense. Like, obviously Rhaenys kept telling her, no, this will never happen, they'll never let a woman rule. But I thought that component of making it to where it was between Viserys and Rhaenys, it was really good writing to kind of almost like foreshadow what was to come for Rhaenyra.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I say that like I know what the hell's coming for Rhaenyra. I mean, I kind of do. I've seen Game of Thrones.
Well, just in the sense that she would be, throughout her teenage and early adult years, people would be like, no, you're never going to be queen.
Oh, right. Yes, what you're saying. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, and also I think the majority of viewers came away from season 1 like, hey, Rhaenys is the best character on the show.
Yeah.
More of her, please. I mean, and I'm blanking on the actress's name all of a sudden. Eve Best, thank you. She's now she's the lead in a new masterpiece show that's on PBS. That's that just started. So she's obviously, and she's been around. It's not like she's new or anything like that, but like she's having a nice little boost in her career too from House of the Dragon. And so I think they were probably like, hey, we need to just put her at the forefront because people, it's why they didn't kill off Han Solo, because George Lucas was like, no, you make us money. So what did you guys, I'm a little confused on what we're doing with Aemond right now. That whole scene in well, I mean, we all know the scene was a thing to behold.
Strange.
Really thin too. I was like, is this VFX or is this his actual body?
I mean, the actor himself isn't, he's not Hulk Hogan by any means, but
he looked malnutritious.
He did.
I almost wonder if, like, because I mean, we even get the confirmation in this scene, like he feels bad about what happened with Luke.
And we saw it play out. That's not what he wanted. He just wanted to scare the shit out of Luke. He didn't want to kill him.
No,
Vhagar made that choice.
Yeah, he lost control of Vhagar. They lost control of their dragons. So, I think he genuinely feels bad. And now his nephew is dead because of something that he made worse. Like, this is a direct result. His nephew is dead as a direct result of his actions. So he's a
kinslayer, which is one of the worst things that you can be in the Game of Thrones world, is be called a kinslayer.
Yeah. And his nephew was killed by a blade that was meant for him.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was like his nephew.
And it seemed like he already knew that. Like you mentioned that he already knew that was intended to.
Yeah.
So now it's more of a correlation between Aemond and Daemon, because Aemond, kinslayer for killing Luke. Daemon is going to end up being outed as the person who ordered this assassination, and he's also kinslayer. I think we're seeing lots of parallels between those two characters, which is really good.
We saw some really interesting parallels between both episodes, actually. Like when you look at like the plot points beat for beat, these two episodes are almost mirrors of each other in a way, because both episodes start with a queen reeling from finding it from the death of her son, within minutes of it. And whereas with Rhaenyra, everybody was looking to her and trying to find her, and she just wanted to be left alone. Helena was desperate for someone to comfort her, and no one would come near. when
Not
she
even her
saw-
brother husband.
when she saw her brother husband, she was like, if anyone's going to, and he almost did, because when they locked eyes in that moment, I think the two of them had that moment of like, we just lost our son and everything sucks right now. But then he was like, I got it, vengeance first. So many other parallels happened. Whether you can call the scene of Rhaenys and Corlys a mirror of the scene between Alicent and Kristen. You could look at the scenes of Aegon speaking to the townspeople versus like Aegon's not Aegon's townspeople, Aegon reacting to his son's death, of murdering all the rat catchers, beating this guy to a death, declaring war. Whereas Rhaenyra is like, I'm gonna go find his body, and then I just want someone to find me she didn't even say kill Aemon. She said, I want him.
Yeah.
Bring him to me.
And another cool thing that I saw in the episode, that for a second I thought that maybe it was going to be Helena being a dreamer and like having a memory of her twins as younger, was when we had Rhaenyra with her two boys in the same exact position that the twins were in, like a few episodes ago in season 1. They were kind of playing with the same toys. They look very much alike. And so you're kind of seeing these two boys with Rhaenyra that looked very similar to the twins with Helena.
That scene with no dialogue was one of my favorite scenes in this episode. It was so well shot. It was so well edited. Emma D'Arcy is speaking volumes with just looks in her eyes. You can feel the love she has for her children and the fear she has of losing them, and the sorrow that goes out over continued interfamily bloodshed. And it's also a weird mirror to the first episode, because in that first, Helena was there with her kids, but she wasn't really present. She was just, she was Helena, whereas Rhaenyra was, she was there.
Yeah.
Just, it's just, it's wild. So it makes me wonder if we're going to keep seeing where each episode is one family recovering from the fucked up shit the other family did at the end of the previous episode, and then we just get to see, we do a fucked up thing, and then they mourn, and then they get to a fucked up thing in revenge, and then they mourn, and
it's all Kristen Cole.
It's all Kristen Cole.
Cole's fault.
Because he just had to get his dick wet some more. He just had to.
And I'll bring this up, another quick part of episode 2 that I thought was interesting, because we haven't, if I'm not mistaken, I don't recall them ever showing Queen Alicent's third son, Darren.
No, this was the first time I think he's been mentioned.
Yeah.
Turns out he's been fostered at Old Town with Otto Hightower's older brother, I'm presuming. So actually, that guy might be dead by now. I don't know. It's been a long
Maybe
time.
Otto Hightower's son.
Yeah. Well,
I thought he was dead.
No, he's alive. He just got he got really beat up by Daemon. But
I thought Daemon straight up killed him.
No, he's alive.
Oh,
okay. Well, in any sense, we now have a third son of Viserys and Alicent out in Old Town. So obviously Otto's plan is to go back there after he's been fired for the... How many times has this guy been fired? Is he employable?
When he was like, you wouldn't dare, I was like, dude, this is not the first time you've gone through this. Let's be
right. Let's take the shock cap off now.
Yeah. Are you shocked? I'm shocked it took so long.
Him being so done with this shit, though, was the best part of this episode. Yeah. He was just like, you know what? I'm not holding back. I'm not gonna let you do what you're doing. I'm gonna tell you how I legitimately feel about you, and it's not your father who wanted you to be king. Walk out.
But Aegon still got him in the last one with the whole "you're dismissed." That's like
right. He had to get the last word in.
Yeah, but also it's like
he already knew.
Here's this reminder of, by the way, you're nobody now.
Yeah,
you're like, without being the hand, you're just the Lord of Old Town or of Hightower. What do you fucking do?
But we're seeing that Otto is still dedicated to the cause overall. He hates that Aegon's the king now. I think he's always kind of hated it, but he wanted, you know, his daughter's kid to be on the throne and not Rhaenyra's. But he'll still fight for the cause. He's going to go to Old Town, raise up the banners, and they'll have some power in the South.
I also like, I love that we had a couple small cracks in the foundation of Otto Hightower in this one. You know, because we have the moment in the council room where he's finally like, hey guys, I'm not just like, this was my grandson. I'm pissed off. Like, I'm not happy right now, but like, you know, big picture or whatever. But like, but don't think I'm not, like, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm pissed off. And then the moment with him and Alicent at the end, I kept waiting for that to get weird, because there were a couple times in season 1 where their scenes got
where
a little
your mother's dressed,
weird, where your mother's dressed, that kind, like, so I was waiting for something like that to happen, and I was so fucking glad it didn't, because you get enough of that with the silver-haired people. I don't need it from everybody else. I already hate Alicent enough, and Otto's not far behind. So
and Otto is grieving too, but he, at the end of the day, is a politician, and he's going to do what he thinks is best to make his family look the best, even if it looks like he's coming off a little cold.
Yeah, he's all about just keeping the machine running.
He's a lot like Tywin Lannister, just his motives are just a little less honest. Like, he's willing to do some manipulation, even with his own daughter, to get what he wants. Whereas Tywin was just like, you know what he wants. He wants what he wants all the time, and everybody knows what it is.
I don't know which one I'd say is worse or better. I think they're both just two different kinds of shit, really. I mean, they're both just two different sides of the same terrible, worthless coin, really. It's just, I don't know. I will say, that moment where when she accuses Kristen, when Alicent accuses Kristen of being desperate for redemption, but we see her like 2 or 3 times try to confess to her father what she's been doing, and he finally just says, I don't want to hear it. And some might see that as a father saying, it doesn't matter, you're my daughter. I saw that as him saying, I literally can't with one more thing right now. Not another thing, please.
It implied to me that he knows what she was going to say, and he was like, I don't want to hear you actually say it out loud.
That's fair.
Yeah, I thought the same too. That I was like, he knows that she's banging Kristen Cole just by the look in the first episode of this season when they both came into the High Council together. And he was just like, yeah, why are they walking in at the same time, kind of thing. Yeah. So I feel like he's just like, don't say it out loud, because then at least I can pretend that it's not happening. And if I actually know it's happening for real, that's just another thing on my plate that I don't need.
It draws parallels again to Tywin Lannister when you know, he was hearing the rumors about Cersei and Jaime, and every time, even when Cersei tried to say it to him, he was like, do not say it out, do not make this real, do not make this a reality for me. I do not want to live in this world where that's an actual thing that is happening to me and my which to be completely fair, Tywin Lannister is not the weird one in that conversation. Him not wanting to hear that his children are sleeping together is perfectly normal. Yeah. It's a perfectly normal thing to not want to have going on. I am curious to see, and again, you guys feel free to jump in as you will. I have a feeling then that this means, now that we've ended the episode with certain people going to certain places, that we're going to go to those certain places now and meet some of these people and see some of these places. I'm assuming that's where we're headed.
Daemon going to Harrenhal, which in the book he's already there.
Okay.
So we're going to see what's up at Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Probably next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I believe I read something, and I thought that this episode was going to be called The Taking of Harrenhal, but then it wasn't. Obviously, it had nothing to do with Harrenhal. I think the next episode is going to be focused, at least somewhat, primarily on Daemon's attempted capture of Harrenhal. which is cool because in the trailer for episode 3, there was a lot of, it was like dark and rainy, and I think that was him, you know, arriving at Harrenhal in the Riverlands. Both sides, the Greens and the Blacks, they want Harrenhal as like their fortress for the Riverlands because that's their best spot from a, you know, from a our army, military.
You guys are gonna have to remind me about Harrenhal from Game of Thrones because I don't remember.
Remember where Arya was held prisoner for a while?
And Arya.
Oh, those ruins.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna see them become ruins.
No, they're already ruins. But
okay.
But it's still a massive castle. It's still one of the biggest, if not the biggest castle in the Seven Kingdoms.
Is that where the Red Wedding was, or am I thinking of something else?
No, that's the twins. Or Walder Frey. Yeah.
Where Aegon Targaryen the First was the one who like blew Harrenhal down with fire.
Okay, it's a lot of names, a lot of locations, and I watch a lot of shit. And it's been a while since I've watched Game of Thrones.
Fair.
And that's also too where King Jacaerys did the council that got Viserys to be. That's the same location.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So it's a very grim and dark place, but it's still a giant castle. The only way you can expect to take it is by dragons, because you got to get up. It's a pretty high built castle, a lot like the Vale, just a lot more grim and disgusting. But it's a huge castle, and good luck getting to it with just foot soldiers and riders.
And bad juju in the castle as well.
Oh yeah. Pretty much every generation of anybody who's been the Lord of Harrenhal or Lady of Harrenhal. I think it's one of the only reasons you see a lot of ladies of Harrenhal, because the guys are just like, peace. I don't want this place.
This place sucks.
Yeah.
I wonder too if because now I'm trying to remember too. What did the High Towers did any of that was in Game of Thrones at all? I mean, they're gone, right?
They're not extinguished. They're just not nearly as powerful as they once were, but they still exist. They still are the the lords of Old Town. Yeah. It's not one of like the big 7 families.
I was gonna say, I don't remember Old Town being much of a thing in game. I don't think I remember it really coming up. I think
the only time we saw it was when Samwell Tarly went to train to become a maester, because Old Town is also where all of the maesters are trained. But yeah, the High Towers have been the lords of that place for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay. See, this is why I have you two here, because otherwise these videos would be super short and just me going, yeah, it was good.
And an example of a high tower that we did see in a flashback of Game of Thrones, the Lord Commander of the Mad King's Kingsguard was a high tower. The guy that Ned and his buddy from whatever the frog place is, they killed.
Oh, okay.
Gerald Hightower. I think.
Oh, he was part of the.
He was one of the Kingsguard. Arthur Dane might have been the Lord Commander, but yeah, a Hightower was a member of the Kingsguard during the time that Robert's rebellion was taking place.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. See, that's all. So I don't have time to read the books, so it's a lot. We are there. God, I'm trying to remember. This was a long episode. This was like 75 minutes, I think.
Yeah. It was about 15.
So I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to make sure I didn't gloss over anything, because there was so much.
Poor dog with the rat catchers.
Like that. We don't deserve dogs. I wish we would have seen the dog peeing on him or something. You know what I mean? Or you're biting the shoe and taking it off his foot.
Unfortunately, the dog loved him, which is a heartbreaker. But in the end, I think the dog is better for that motherfucker being dead the way he booted him. I thought that he was a piece of shit.
It was a secret hidden subplot of the rest of the season of just that dog popping up in increasingly better and better circumstances, just like in the background of scenes somewhere. I'm sorry, Vander. What were you saying? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That'd be a good Easter egg for the fans. Yeah. I was just saying that, a dog is always going to love its owner for the most part, even if they're abusive. But the dog is better off for that guy being dead. I always knew that he was a scumbag. Obviously, we learned that immediately. But, I thought he at least was good to the dog until you see him give him the people's elbow with his foot.
Right? And in that moment, I was like, he needs to die soon.
I was more mad about that than I was about the.
That was being about anything than anything. Yeah. So
show you in shows too. If you want to make someone hate someone, have them be abusive towards a dog.
There's a reason why we let John Wick go on a murder spree for 4 movies. It's because his puppy was murdered. We all would do the same thing. Long may John Wick reign. Yeah, I'm so seeing the true beginning of Aegon just losing all goodwill.
He was more like, yes, he was still fueled by vengeance, but after like the initial outburst where he's very clearly disoriented and very, very upset, by the end of it, like even his conversation with Otto and Sir Kristen, I was surprised at how composed he was. Like, it may be the wrong decision, you know, even endorsing Kristen's idea to send Sir Arik to Dragonstone. Like, it's probably the wrong idea, but like, he's still focused on making a decision and seeing it through. Like, he's not just being completely reckless and homicidal. Like, he's still capable, even in the midst of this tragedy, of making a decision, sticking to it, and watching it follow through.
And seeing the difference too between episode 1 of him wanting to be good with the lower folk and like, oh, can we just give him his goats back? That'll be fine. Oh, okay, we can't. I'm gonna pay you soon, grandfather. Don't even try to interrupt me on this one. And then now he's just like, oh, I will kill anyone. I want war.
Yeah. And I will say his little boy got killed. I'm not gonna sit here, I'm not a dad, but I'm not going to sit here and act like if I got woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning and someone said, hey, someone cut your kid's head off in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
I'm not going to react rashly. I'm not going to react calmly. No. And again, this is a kid who has never been shown an ounce of love in his life, who, you know, never felt any love from his father or from his mother, was married off to his sister, is a piece of shit in his own right. Don't get me wrong. But who, you know, we see in for the first episode is like, fuck that. Like, my kid is going to be in all the meetings. My kid's going to know I'm going to dote on my kid. And, you know, gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. So
because he got more affection in that dragon pit when the masses screamed for him becoming king, he got more affection in that moment than he probably had ever got in his whole life prior to that. And I think it immediately changed his outlook of it. Now he's honored to be in the post that he's in, and he's going to take pride in you know, delivering the outcomes that he wants and making those decisions and seeing him through and all that.
It's also just to see that house of cards come tumbling down. It's like he almost made it out episode 1 with a significant amount of goodwill with the rest of the townspeople. Again, like agreeing to pay the iron workers up front was like, it's like, no, everyone's like, yeah. And it's like, now one piece of shit did a shitty thing, and I'm going to murder all the rat catchers in town.
And put them up for everyone to see.
On display. It's it's just, and that makes me wonder about the name Aegon, especially knowing now there is a second Aegon on the field. Well, he hasn't learned how to walk yet, but there is a second Aegon on the field.
Aegon the Younger.
Aegon, we've got Aegon part 3. Yeah,
Aegon the Third.
Because right now we have Aegon 2 Electric Boogaloo. And coming up soon, we're going to have Aegon Trinity, and that's the one where you get Gerard Butler playing Dracula, and it gets weird. And then they try to make a new one with Mahershala Ali. I think I'm confusing it with Blade. I'm not sure, but yeah, we've got, and we know the Dance of the Dragons is coming.
Oh yeah. The whole first season was building up to it, and I'm excited that we've even watched 2 whole episodes now without really seeing battles yet. I figured they were going to hop right into it, but we got 2 episodes of some more character building, and I believe we're going to see 1 battle in this next episode. I believe.
Well, and to the point you made earlier, you know, like you said, like it was a lot more character buildings, because when we talked about this last season, season 1 is basically the prologue. It's basically, okay, now you know everything you need to know about these characters. Now the story can begin. So that's why, like, like I mentioned earlier, it's like this was that good old school Westerosi soap opera drama that we all kind of love, because now we've spent a whole season building these characters up. Now we know them. Now we can take the time to live in this world with them a little bit and pepper in the little small characters, the little B and C plots that we all also love and enjoy more than anything.
Speaking of which, with small characters that could potentially make a bigger impact on the show in the future, we got to meet the second of the Whole brothers. We met Alan in the first episode, the guy that saved Corlys from sea, pulled him back onto the ship. We also now know his little brother, Sir Adam of Hull. Well, I don't know if they're sirs yet. Sorry, spoiler alert. But yes, Adam and Alan, two brothers who have been working for it's not that big of a spoiler.
Look, we already know Corlys said, "Hey, I owe you one." So
yeah. So I think that's really cool. I think that those two characters, I thought it was the way he looked up at the dragon. By the way, that dragon was one that is yet riderless, doesn't have a rider on it yet. So
I thought that was Bela on Moondancer.
I thought it was Sea Smoke.
I believe it was Sea Smoke, which again is one of the riderless ones flying around.
Because wasn't that Laenor's dragon? That's
Laenor's dragon. Laenor is alive, which he is dead in the books. So I wonder what.
They still even said in the books she never found his body. I thought that was good that they wrote that. I wonder if George R. R. Martin told Ryan Condal that was really just a ploy. But yeah, it's Laenor's ex-dragon.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, and by the way, Moondancer, a S tier name for a dragon. By the way, like flawless, 10 out of 10, no notes. God, I can't wait to see that gorgeous baby on screen.
And Moondancer is a smaller dragon too.
So she's feisty.
That's Bela's dragon, right?
Yeah. So she's got small dog syndrome, is what you're telling me?
Yes.
As somebody with a small dog upstairs. I'm just a baby. Where we going, Spike? Where we going, Spike? I liked that we got a small scene with her and Jace.
Yeah.
That was nice because I said last week I want to see more of Daemon's daughters. I want to know more about them.
They listened to you.
They listened to me because we Bela not happy with Daddy.
Bela is not happy with Daddy.
No, because he's been kind of an absentee dad ever since their mother died.
Yeah. And I hate that. And I said this in the last episode. I hate that we didn't get to see the extended scene that they took out of Daemon like comforting his daughters after their mother's death. So we're kind of seeing more Daemon being like, yeah, whatever, with his daughters.
Yeah. We're also I'm glad I didn't watch the preview for next week's episode, so I'm glad you brought up that it looks like we're going to spend time with Matt Smith, because not a lot of Matt Smith these first two episodes, and I'm jonesing for some Daemon. Like we haven't. He was like, if Rhaenys is the best character on the show, then Daemon's the second best character on the show, and we had hardly any of him in the first episode, and I think we had as much, if maybe a little bit more, this episode. But
a great scene nonetheless.
Fantastic scene. Oh, it was incredible scene. They chewed that scenery up, but but like we also got in like episode 2 of last season, watched Daemon solo the crab feeder army.
That was badass.
Like I'm like he walked out of there with half of that dude's body dragging on the ground. That was 2 episodes in.
Just wait for next episode.
Daemon is a warrior. He's one of the best warriors in the whole world, and we love him best when we get to see him fighting. And when he's not fighting, he's kind of like pretty much always just looking for a fight or looking for some kind of bloodshed to be ordered on his behest. But we hate him when it's not in an actual battle, because he's doing shitty stuff like having a kid off,
And I said this last episode too, but I love that in the show they're using the parts of the book where you're unsure about things. They're using Daemon for that, where we don't actually hear him say things, or he doesn't actually answer. He just stays quiet. We saw that in the fight with Rhaenyra, which is like, do you accept me as your queen? And he just stays quiet, and then Rhaenyra just continues on to the next topic. And so we don't ever really know fully what Daemon's thinking, other than his actions his facial expressions, and you know he loves his wife, niece, and his family, but there is moments there of loss because he was heir originally.
Yeah.
I think he loves her in the sense that in the way that he loves anyone that's a member of his family.
Yeah.
As far as loving her as his wife, I don't know. I think to him, anybody that's not himself is just a means to an end, honestly. So,
and I think he has to, like, there is the hots for a family member, because we saw Mysaria in the first season was just like, oh, I can get someone with white hair for you if I'm not doing it for you.
I forgot about that.
which again makes you just kind of go like, God, his first wife was so hot. What an idiot. God.
Oh, the one he killed off the horse?
Yeah.
She was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, his second wife was hot too.
Second wife was very hot.
Yeah, she was. Anyway.
And related to him. I think he really did love her.
It really does come down to he just loves his own blood in a lot of different ways. But I have we left any stone unturned? I feel like
Eric and Ark.
Yeah, we haven't got to talk about Eric.
Yeah, I forgot about the twins. Oh my god.
We can lead into it because I also wanted to bring up Mysaria, which was just
forgot
mentioned a moment
about
ago by Soul.
Yeah.
Mysaria, we're starting to see that maybe she's gonna be the Laris Strong of the Blacks, which is pretty cool. I think that's what that's heading toward. Obviously, she was on her way to flee the country, and she was like, actually, right now I have a chance to show them that I can be of value to them by recognizing that, hey, that guy just escorted me out of the castle. Why is he walking back into the castle from all the way over here? So she knew something was up, and she was able to give the heads up and prevented, obviously, Rhaenyra from being assassinated. So I love that we're going to get to see her, because there always got to be a counterpart. If there's a spy master on one team, we got to have one on the other team too. So I'm glad we get to see that.
Rhaenyra saved her life by letting her go too. If Rhaenyra went to her darker, more demon, more Daemon-like side of herself and kept her as prisoner, she'd be dead. But she was like, she went to her kinder side that's more like her father and let her go.
Because ultimately it was her actions that got her son killed. If you hadn't have told Otto about any of this, now again, she didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, she did, but she didn't. She's like, I wasn't trying to get your son killed. I was just trying to make money and curry favor with the hand, and I paid for that.
She had a great point when she was like, Aegon was gonna end up going back anyway. Like he's gonna run out of gold and have to go home for that. Like, I was just speeding up the process. I was, fast forwarding the inevitable.
Exactly. Like this was going to happen. If it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else that would be standing right here. Yeah. The difference was the one person that did do it was the one person who was also, because you can see it was the look in Rhaenyra's eyes when, not only when she finds out that this is a woman that has also been wronged by Daemon and suddenly, hey, welcome to the club, we have our own sandwich, but also this is someone who she says like he didn't like it when I showed my teeth. Oh, so this is someone who truly does not have the favor of the Greens. Well, then the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'd rather have them in my corner than as a rogue where they can do more damage.
And I love too that it shows that this is someone that we remember watching in the show, but Rhaenyra doesn't remember who she is, because outside of the highborn, someone like Rhaenyra is not really going to remember lower-born people. So the fact it takes her a while to remember, that just shows another aspect to the show and to these people of like, we're good when it comes to highborn people. We saw that with Rhaenys. Like, she's a good person, but she killed a bunch of people when she came out. The beast beneath the lords.
So many people. And I love that doesn't get brought up either. They're like, a dragon escaped from the center or whatever. It's like, and killed like 400 people. We're not going to mention that. Okay, all right.
Because they don't care.
Because they don't fucking care.
Casualties of war.
And also, it's something to remember too, is like the last time Rhaenyra saw her was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And also, lady hasn't aged a day. Not a day. The most that's been done to her is just smoke from the fire and being in a cell.
Yeah.
So whatever she's doing, do it.
Her and
Meanwhile-
Kristen Cole like are sipping that good life juice.
Yeah.
Which, you know what that is? That's why now I don't trust her, because apparently you have to be a real piece of shit to look that good for that long. Holy shit. I hate them. I hate him so much.
So about the twins, the Cargill twins.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say I'm torn by having to pick one or the other, like who's more honorable, but I've just decided that there's no sense in trying to. They're both the same person. They both. That's the thing. You can have honorable motives that are going to be different than somebody else honorable motives for the same thing. Like, I don't blame Eric for abandoning King's Landing and going to serve Rhaenyra. I also don't blame Arik for sticking to the king who was crowned by a septon in the dragon pit of Westeros or of King's Landing. So I thought that was a very beautiful moment. Two characters that seemingly you can kind of argue are without flaw, like they truly are. They just want to serve their king or queen
And they
to
love
their
each
best
other.
ability. They love each other very
They
much
do.
so.
They are. It was truly. I was so mad that it ended the way it did, because it's like I just don't want these two to go. But it was such a great scene. You know, the whole they're just sitting there with their hands on each other's throat, and he's like, "You're the one who left, but I still fucking love you."
Yeah.
Like, and then as soon as he kills his own brother, he's like, "No, I'm out. I'm done. I can't."
Yeah.
Like, again, you mentioned he's a kinslayer now. He just killed his twin brother. I'm out. He basically just killed himself. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
And then he did kill himself.
And it goes back to what Eric said last episode of we became Kingsguard at 18 years old and we vowed to protect the royal family. What do we do when the royal family fights each other? So each of them decided to choose which royal family to take care of, but they are the same.
Yeah.
It's an interesting parallel too, because both Erics have the exact same conversation with a different member of each royal family. It's the exact same what Eric says, I forget which one's which. What Eric the Black, I'm gonna say what Eric the Black says to Daemon, which is basically like, you guys started this fight. We didn't want to be a part of this. You drug us into this and made us choose sides. And then what Eric the Green says to Kristen Cole is, yeah, my cloak's a little bit dirty and all that. You're banging the queen on the regular. Do you really want to open this can of worms about purity right now? I didn't think so. Let's all shut the hell up and just go about our business. Okay? By the way, do you need me to go pose as my brother and murder somebody? Because I would gladly do it. Do you think he actually was going there to kill Rhaenyra? Or do you think, oh, real? You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing about being an honorable member of the Kingsguard. You take your commands and you see them through to the best of your ability.
He did apologize when he walked in the room. He was like, I had no choice. Please understand, I have no choice, or whatever was he said. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have been, if Mysaria wouldn't have tipped off the guards that the other Arik was gonna be in that room, like he would have definitely offed Rhaenyra. I do not doubt that 1 second.
I don't know. Do you think she could have held her own?
She didn't have a sword. She just drank a sleeping drought.
Oh, that's fair, actually. I guess she wasn't so knocked out. Yeah, I was trying to wonder, because I was like, well, wait a minute. In season 1, she was a fucking badass. I forgot she took a melatonin.
She's also a badass when she's on her dragon. Like, I don't know how good her hand-to-hand combat is.
She also doesn't have the short blade that she killed the pig with.
That's fair.
Oh,
like she doesn't have that on. I feel like she would have died, but she would have gotten some good jabs in, like if she had a sword on her.
I want to see adult Rhaenyra. I don't know we're gonna get it, but I want to see adult Rhaenyra in action, because we got to see young Rhaenyra in action. I want to see adult Rhaenyra, war-ravaged queen, fuck some shit up.
You're gonna see everybody who rides a dragon in a battle at some point. If not this season, the next season and the 4th season. But yeah,
I'm just thinking back to like season 1, like Strong was just like, yeah, that's a badass that I'm gonna get with later. When like he has the biggest smile on on his face when he sees Rhaenyra coming with the pig and all bloodied
And
in
he's
the
just
first
like,
season.
I miss Harwin.
Yeah.
yeah, I miss him. I miss his dad.
His dad was cool.
And going to like Bela and Jace's conversation, the subtlety of everyone knows that they're bastards was like,
Yeah.
what was my uncle like? Not what was your father like? What
Right.
was my uncle like?
Mhm.
And then asking about Harwin Strong as well.
Yeah. Everybody on the Blacks knows, and they're okay with it because they know that Jacaerys is kind-hearted and is going to do everything he can for the betterment of his family.
It's because when they look at, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe they're bastards, and maybe you know, Helena's kids or Alicent's kids have a stronger claim to the throne. They're also the worst. Even Otto and Alicent have been saying since episode 1, like, yeah, Aegon sucks. He's who we got.
Maybe it's better to have children with people who don't share your DNA. You'll have better kids.
It's almost like there's a lesson here or something. It's almost like there's a lesson here or something. I mean, I'm not one to root for the Greens, but you know, maybe they've got the right idea with the whole don't marry your cousin thing. I don't know. Don't try to pawn your 12-year-old off.
They made brother and sister get married to each other, so the Greens aren't that good either.
Yeah,
I know. And Corlys and Rhaenys tried to marry Viserys off to a 12-year-old. I know. It's just it's oof.
Yeah.
That's still.
And then he marries a 15-year-old in Alicent.
right.
Because that's better.
She's flowered.
Okay. Anyway. I didn't freeze. I was just like, I stalled out. I was just like,
his body froze. His camera didn't freeze.
Sometimes
I justify it in my head just because technically in the lore of this world, they're not like Targaryens aren't really like any Valyrian blood family is not like, they're not humans. They're not fully humans.
I know. I try to remind myself of that, but I also have. But there's also the part of me that's like, I'm watching two human beings on screen right now. And it's just,
even that purity kind of gets tainted from Aegon's conquest down to where we are now. Because before it was just like you married your sister, things kept pushing and it went on and on and on. But over the course of this last century and a half of the upbringing of the Seven Kingdoms, you know, you see the heir to the throne get, you know, a marriage pact with Baratheon and then with Velaryon. So like, well, we're starting to see actual other bloodlines who are human completely.
Yeah.
Also become incest, and you know, even if it takes a couple of generations.
Whereas like Rhaenys is a Baratheon.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. I always forget that the Baratheons are loosely related to like the Targaryens.
Well, the very first Baratheon who took over the Stormlands as Lord of Storm's End was just a bastard Targaryen.
Yeah.
The very first Baratheon was just a Targaryen bastard, and they gave him a good last name and gave him a castle.
Yep. Well, but also remember, Aegon has like an entire fucking army of small bastard children running around King's Landing, fighting in the pits. It's truly it's Fight Club Junior, and everybody's got the same hairdo. So this show is always so much like end of sentence. Like this show is so much. Sometimes it kind of fries my brain, and just like I have to get ready when I'm about to start watching it. Like I have to take like Lamaze breaths to like, okay, here we go. Especially when you're watching this at the same time as The Boys, it's a lot of heaviness, but again, this was that return to Westerosi soap opera form that I think we all know and love from Game of Thrones in its prime. So I'll turn it over to you two as people who know this story already, just for final thoughts on how you feel with the progression so far and where the direction it seems like we're headed into for the next episode.
We gonna get dragons fighting each other, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. I'm very impressed with how they've been able to stretch everything out. Like if this whole series, all 4 or 5 seasons or whatever, is going to be that long, it's only like 200 pages of material. So the fact that we're still only like probably 50, 60 pages in blows my mind. And I like that. I like that they've been able to do that with good writing. If
Yeah.
D&D were behind House of the Dragon, this show would be god awful. It would stink completely. But Ryan Condal and his writers and co-directors are doing a very good job of filling in all the blanks. We're seeing great character developments, very few plot holes, and I enjoy it very much. I'm looking forward to an actual war starting.
Did you say if D&D was behind this?
David and Dan, the writers of Game of Thrones.
I always refer to them as Benioff and Weiss. Okay, I never heard them called D&D before, so I was like, wait, what's wrong with D&D? I was about to get mad. Okay.
Yeah, which they show that they're good at adapting books, but this book is not the same as
Not at all.
the Game of Thrones books. This is a history textbook that doesn't have a lot of character development, doesn't really go fully into the story. It's like you telling a story to like a kid or a family member. It's not really a really, I can't find the right words, but it's not really fleshed out.
It's not a narrative. This isn't a narrative. This is a this is bullet points. It's
a table of contents, and Ryan Condal is left to fill in all the blanks and write the chapters.
It's the Cliff Notes.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah, it's the Cliff Notes. So listen, guys, we'd love to know what you think down below. What if you are someone who's read the books, how are you feeling about the adaptation? Again, the side of things so far. What are your predictions? If you don't know, by the way, also don't spoil anything in the comments. Don't do that. Like, you know, but also scroll at your own risk when you're on the internet, people. Seriously, it's everywhere. But let us know your predictions, how you guys are feeling. Is Eve Best still the best part of the show so far? And if not, why are you so confident in your wrong answer? Let us know down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys again next time here on Off the Wall. Bye, everybody.